Thank you for watching my short presentation on Instagram as a tool for dissemination in medicine. The objectives of this presentation are very simple. I will try to give an overview of why Instagram could be impactful in dissemination and talk about some basics of Instagram itself that are different from other social media platforms. And finally, I will expand on how Instagram can help our dissemination mission. Instagram has been one of the most popular social media platforms with a very wide audience for a while. That audience includes healthcare professionals, families, and patients, and many of them are starting to get their information from Instagram and other social media outlets. Instagram is a visual medium that is a double-edged sword. It is easy to provide misinformation as well as adequate information on subjects. And I feel that as researchers and medical professionals, we should be able to provide more adequate information for our colleagues and families and patients. In April of 2021, Satellite Internet, which is a internet provider that specializes in providing internet services to rural areas of the US, conducted a survey of 1,000 subjects on the most popular social media platforms at the time. And as you can see in this figure, 86% of respondents identified Facebook as the most popular social media platform, followed closely by Instagram. Instagram was more popular in the 18 to 29-year-old age group, and Facebook was more popular among the older than 29-year-old group. The same survey had some interesting insight on how social media platforms affect people positively and negatively. You will notice Facebook leads the way both positively and negatively, but Instagram has more positive impact than negative impact. So what makes Instagram different from other social media platforms? It is almost purely a visual creation platform. It doesn't only have feed posts similar to other platforms, but also has stories, reels, and carousels. Stories are really the bread and butter, so to speak, of Instagram. And that is where most people gravitate to. In fact, when discussing social media strategies with a consultant, they will recommend that you share your posts as stories, not just as posts, in order to capture more audience. Reels are basically short videos or stories that are set to an audio file. It could be music or it could be some other audio file. Carousels are posts of 10 slides or pictures maximum that can be shared to use any sort of information or photos. These are used by many healthcare professionals on Instagram to share basic information to families and patients. Instagram has 3 types of accounts. Personal accounts. This is a type of account where you would share items that you necessarily don't want other professionals or colleagues to see. A business account, which is most relevant to, I feel, the dissemination field. Those are aimed at individuals who wish to share certain content with colleagues and specific audiences. The advantages of a business account is it gives you insight into your interactions, and I'll share some of those on the next slide. Business accounts could be used for collaboration with other professionals and creating possible avenues for educational opportunities. Research network accounts, PCAR team, for example, could bring multiple accounts from research centers and researchers themselves together and share all the efforts on the network. The last type of account is the creator account, which is for monetizing purposes and financial gain through Instagram. This slide shows screen captures of insights that you can get from a business account. There's, of course, the insights overall view of accounts reached, accounts engaged, and total followers. And there's percent change underneath each. You can also see the reached audience by city and by country, and by age and gender. And those can be used for targeted posting or content. Of course, whatever the social media platform, there's always a question about content. What is content? How do I generate content? How often do I have to generate content? The recommendation is posting 1 to 2 times a day on Instagram. You do not want to post too little, because then you risk disengagement and losing followers. And you don't want to post too much, because then you may overwhelm your followers and risk losing them also. You should have content themes, and you should keep it interesting. Think of your keywords and mission if you have one. For example, it could be science, cooking, and sports, and you link them up together. You can create a post of tying fishing knots and link that to suturing, linking in your hobbies to your profession. From your themes, you determine your style. That would be what type of grammar you would use, if you're going to use emojis, and which hashtags you would use. And hashtags are very important because those will build your brand. This is how people will find you to follow you. This is how collaborators would find you. You should be consistent in both your style and your theme, and that would drive up your engagement with colleagues or other stakeholders that could find your account and you would interact with them. This content matrix summarizes the 4 pillars of a successful campaign on Instagram. This is based on a marketing content matrix, but I adapted it to educational and dissemination work. The 4 pillars are entertain, inspire, educate, and convince. You entertain through humor, quizzes, Q&As. You inspire by talking about your journey, your struggles, your successes. And similarly, you educate. If you find something interesting, someone else will. This is where your evidence-based medicine message would be. And through all these pillars, you aim to convince through collaboration, through real-world events and evidence, and through case studies where your followers can adapt your pillars for their own. A few last helpful tips about content is that anything could be content, but it should be on brand. It should be something that you are passionate about. It should follow your content and your themes. If able, talk to social media consultants, better yet, hire them, because they can guide you through this journey on social media, particularly Instagram. So to sum it up, how can Instagram help us in our dissemination mission? It gives us a wide audience of colleagues, patients, and families. You can have more return for your posts through multiple platforms, making it ideal for dissemination to multiple stakeholders. And you can build a brand, a visual brand. Then you can collaborate and track engagement, and you can see statistics that can be used to drive more content, but can be used for grantsmanship, promotion, tenure, and creating more and more content, more and more collaboration and education. Finally, here are 2 references that I feel would be useful to the viewers. And this is my own personal business account. So if you feel like following me, please do. And thank you for your attention.